Hello everybody, I'm Alfred, and the video we're about to watch is titled Evolution of Batman Cars and Gadgets. Now this is posted on Supercar Blondie's channel. Let's check.
The Batmobile went from looking like a sweet-looking car to a tank, back to a sweet-looking car. We've been lucky enough to film some of these in person, so we have exclusive footage coming up. Welcome to Explained. Let's start from the beginning. For many, Adam West's Batmobile was the OG Batmobile. It looked like a spaceship, but similar enough to the cars at the time to feel relatable for the viewers. This was Adam West's Batmobile from the Batman TV show in the 1960s. It was a different time when Batman looked like this. Despite looking like the awkward kid at an elementary school costume party, it was the start of something special. The car had oil squirters and nail spreaders on the back, smoke screens, a bat chute, and rocket launchers. The car was based on a 1955 Lincoln Futura.
Now this is something I didn't know.
A concept car representing what Lincoln thought the car of the future would look like. We all know how that story goes. With the Futura as a base, the Batmobile was designed on top of it in only 3 weeks.
The producer, William Dozier, called me from 20th Century Fox. Says, we're doing a Batman TV show, and we'd like to create a Batmobile. Now you got 15 days and $15,000. That's the way.
15 days. You know, back then, it's interesting how hardworking people were, you know, the kind of deadlines they give people.
15 days, but the challenge was worth it. So I said, let's go for it.
The iconic OG Batmobile was sold in 2013 at an auction for, get this, $4.6 million. The Batmobile after that was Michael Keaton's Batmobile in the 1989 movie Batman. They actually got so caught up in the design that it was only after molding the body that the director of the movie, Tim Burton, said, guys, where's the door?
I forgot. I'd never thought of the door.
One of the designers had been on a Harrier jump jet where the top slides forward, so they ended up doing a sliding hood, which is cool. But when designing it, they didn't account for Batman's ears. So when they first tried to close the hood, Batman's ears were sticking out. Now it was too late to redesign the Batmobile, so they actually had to remake Batman's costume with slightly shorter ears. The turbine look at the front of the car was inspired by the land rocket cars you see whizzing around the desert. The headlights were literally from a Honda Civic, flipped upside down, inspired by the designer's wife's own car. It had Ferrari taillights because they wanted round taillights at the back. 2 Browning machine guns, 1 on each side, grappling guns, and a jet engine. Even though this was the second official Batmobile, it created a base for all of the cartoons and video games that came after.
I need a new car.
Of course, it looks so cool. It looks so cool.
Val Kilmer's Batmobile came 6 years later in the movie Batman Forever with a similar shape. It had 3 bat wings with a huge one at the back, 3.2 meters tall. Random fun fact, the car was actually inspired by a leather fetish magazine. It was meant to look and feel more like an animal, like something that was living and breathing. This Batmobile could crab walk, helping it dodge rockets and bullets. It also had a rear view camera which was way ahead of its time. Under the car was a type of rocket that would lift the front, which combined with its grappling hooks, let it drive up walls effortlessly. And this time around, the iconic jet engine in the back was much, much more powerful.
We used a hot air balloon motor for the flame. In order to get the flame to extend, we used propane with nitrous oxide.
In 1997, it was George Clooney's turn to play Batman in Batman and Robin. It was similar to the previous model, but had lighting everywhere, and the front hood got even longer.
The car has so many batteries with all the neon that we run on it. Up in here on the side panels, LEDs.
It had a rotating glowing turbine in the front, a live video chat device in the car, and, what we all love, an ejector seat. The now even more iconic singular centered jet engine was replaced by several fire-spitting exhausts on each side of the back. As cool as it was, this seems to have been one of the more forgettable Batmobiles. Fast forward to almost 10 years later, the Batmobile was completely redefined. Everybody had always seen the Batmobile as a sporty, sleek vehicle, kind of futuristic. But all that changed in 2005. Batman Begins debuted with Christopher Nolan as director, Christian Bale as the new Batman, and the Tumbler as the new Batmobile. Fun fact, there's actually an abandoned Tumbler in Dubai, completely covered in sand and paw prints from stray cats. The Tumbler is most people's favourite Batmobile. It was the first time in a long time that a Batmobile actually felt believable.
We went away after.
I believe the previous ones are better, and it fits the idea of a Batmobile, especially the first one, because the more realistic, the more inconspicuous, the better. If you are thinking about a superhero that moves about, it is actually in his best interest, especially someone that is, supposed to live in the shadows and operate in the shadows. The more inconspicuous, the better, but at least cool enough to have a lot of fancy, gadgets with this. This is crazy. I would say that this is kind of like, it's kind of this model, it is not a replacement per se. I would say it's something that is meant to go along with something like the Batman metal suit, because Batman has his own metal kind of suit. I think it was because of Bane he has it, and basically also because of Superman, because when he faces off with Superman, that is what Batman often wears. He needs that protection of that heavy, the metal, Iron Man, Batman, the suits. I really can't recall what the official name is. Those who are hardcore fans of Batman or the comics would know what that is, but it is what it is.
And said, what, we can run with this. Let's make a 100-mile-an-hour beast that can jump through the air, land, carry on driving. We tried everything we could to make it as indestructible as we could.
It felt like both a tank and a supercar at the same time, and genuinely felt intimidating. Like seriously, if you saw this thing chasing after you, you knew you were in trouble. It had a rocket launcher, explosive spike strips, machine guns, huge off-road tires, an EMP. The only thing not that believable was the stealth system, where basically the electronics on the car turn off and the entire police fleet magically lose track of him, despite literally being inches away from him and having a helicopter above. But if I had to pick one Batmobile, this would be the one for me. 11 years later, Batman vs Superman came out, and again the Batmobile got a noticeable facelift. This version felt more like a mix of all the previous Batmobiles. It was like...
the constant updating of the Batmobile is typical. It is something that has to be done because technology changes and all of that. And the cars, what is going to be impressive as a car changes. And, just the same way cars come out with new models, and what is in one generation is amazing becomes in another generation, or just basically crap, in another generation. You have to maintain the standard of above and beyond when it comes to a Batmobile. So they have to keep on updating and upgrading what a Batmobile is technology wise, and what it can do.
Like getting the Tumbler, putting it on a diet.
It has to live up to its expectation of something that is extraordinary and impressive, and will wow people when they see it, and as technology improves with time, what will wow people changes. What would have wowed them before will not wow them, in a later time in the future.
And giving it that elongated shape from the earlier movies, it felt more like an armoured, agile off-road car. Sergi actually got to drive one in Dubai, and the one he drove is surprisingly road legal. The car comes out with a rocket, which he also tested out. The way the doors open is super cool, kind of like a Suicide Girl wing door hybrid, and the car also sounds absolutely insane.
Let's press this button, the big red button. Ready?
Random fun fact again, the wheels at the back weigh 500 kilograms each. Lastly, we have the latest Batmobile in 2022's The Batman, aka Robert Pattinson's Batmobile. This has got a lot of mixed reviews because unlike the previous Batmobiles, it seems like Warner Brothers stepped away from crazy over-the-top concepts and focused more on something
basically
realistic.
Did nonsense.
The car...
It's not a matter of realistic. This is basically nonsense. The first one was realistic, and also had a good look. But you know, this is the era of woke. This Twilight Boys version of Batman is whack. Number one, he didn't even beef himself up. He didn't go to the gym. You know, he has no muscle. He's still a skinny little kid. You know, playing, and he wants to play Batman. And of course, he is unsuitable for playing Batman. I'm not surprised that also the car. This is basically the worst version, and it will be. It depends. It depends on how woke it is. But so far, it's the worst version so far. But you know, maybe as wokeness continues, there will be worse, even worse versions, you know, than this.
Itself is actually a 1969 Dodge Charger with a huge exposed V10 engine sitting on the back. I actually got to go see it in person in Dubai. It's meant to be Batman's very first Batmobile that was basically built by the Bat himself. The story is that back in the day, Bruce Wayne would participate in street races, Fast and Furious style, and would make some extra money. Extra money meant he could upgrade the car further and win more races and make more money and rinse and repeat, and eventually he started adding bulletproof panels, guns, and everything that the 2022 Batman needed to fight crime. What you get is a heavily armoured, souped-up Dodge Charger with a roll cage and a Ford truck.
Now, based on that detail, that is not good. Let us talk about the movie. You guys saying that Batman used to do street racing. This is a billionaire. Why would a billionaire get involved in street racing? You understand classes. If it is like a bunch of people who are, you know, gambling or playing dice in the streets, then a billionaire that everybody knows is a billionaire comes there to play with them. That's a problem. That doesn't work. You know, that is unrealistic. Why would a billionaire, you know, Batman is a billionaire, why would he, you know, so you are saying this is him as Bruce Wayne, and you are saying that the same car he used in the street racing is what he's going to be using as Batman, so people will know that he's Batman. Understand that you are dealing with people who understand cars. So they are seeing you and your car is winning races, and they are seeing all the things that you are adding. Later, they see a Batmobile, which is basically that same car with even more gadgets. They will know who Batman is. So that is even stupid. But of course, it's the era of woke, so I'm not surprised.
Triton V10. What do you guys think about this latest Batmobile? What do you think the next one will look like? Let us know in the comment section. Don't forget to like this video. And
I'm not looking forward to the future Batmobiles. As long as wokeness continues, you know, it's going to get worse. They'll come up with all kinds of crazy nonsense, you know. It's interesting how wokeness eliminates the number of brain cells in people's head. But that being said, you know, if you are watching this, you've not given your life to Christ, go to Alfredo VIP, click the salvation prayer link in the main menu, and do at the page you come out as a prayer of salvation. Say that prayer telling God you want to give your life to Christ and become a Christian. Thank you and God bless you.